Hello everyone. In this lecture, we will cover the further topics in railway engineering, that is coning of wheels, tilting of wheels, then what are the hogged rails, what is the cause of hogging of rails, then what is the gear of rail, the types of gears, and then we will see what is creep. So, what is coning of wheels? Coning of wheels is what allows a train to take a turn without slipping off its track. By coning of wheels, the train do not slip off from its track. The rails are not laid flat but tilted inwards by using inclined base plates sloped at 1:20, which is also the slope of the cone surface of the wheels. To avoid the slipping of the train from the track, these wheel trains are sloped at a slope of 1:20. Similarly, the rails are also tilted inwards by using a inclined base plates that are also sloped at 1:20. Therefore, the distance between the inner edge of the wheel flange is generally kept less than the gauge of the track. That is, the length of the gauge will be greater than that of the length of the inner edges of the wheel. That is, the flange length will be always less than the gauge of the track. So, what are the advantages of coning of wheels? Why coning of wheels is needed? We will see. It will reduce the wear and tear of the wheel flanges and rails. If we do not tilt the wheels, then it will result in wear and tear of the wheels. So, to prevent and to reduce the wear and tear of the wheel flanges and rails, coning of wheels is done. Second, it provides the possibility of lateral movement of the axle with its wheel. It allows the axle movement laterally with the wheel. And third, it prevents the wheels from slipping to some extent. Okay. Then we can see in this figure that the wheel flanges are never kept flat, they are sloped in slope 1:20. Also, the rails are tilted by using a flat plate which is also sloped in 1:20. The coning of wheels is mainly done to maintain the vehicle in the central position with respect to the track. To maintain the central position of a vehicle, of a train with respect to track, this coning of wheels is done. So now we will see a video showing what will happen if coning of wheels is not done and what will be the result if coning of wheels is done. So we can see if the rails are placed flat, these are the rails. If they are placed flat, the wheels will fall off. It will slide off from the track. So we can see from this figure that this is the axle, these are the wheels, these are the wheel flanges, these are the wheel treads. See, we can see that these wheel treads are given a slope of 1:20. If coning of wheels is not done and only flat wheels are used, at the turns, the train may slip off from the track. So by coning the wheels, the train will be on the track. See, it will take a smooth turn and it will come to its original position, that is, it will maintain the central position with respect to the track. So wear and tear of the rails will be minimum if coning of wheels is done. At the turn, outer wheel required to take a long diameter as compared to that of the inner wheel. Now we will move towards the tilting of rails. Now we have seen that the rails are not kept flat but they are tilted inwards. For this method, an inclined plate is used. This is the base plate which is inclined with a slope of 1:20, similar to that of the cone surface of the wheels. What will be the advantage of tilting this rails? First advantage is that it will maintain the gauge. That is, it will maintain the inner distance between the inner faces of the rails. The wear of the head of the rail will be uniform if a flat plate is provided and which is sloped at 1:20, then wear of head of the rail will be uniform, and also it will increase the life of the sleepers as well as the rails. Now we will move on to what are the hogged rails. A hogged rail is one with its end or ends bent in vertical direction. See, we can see in this diagram that this is a single rail, these two are a single rails. These are the ends of the rails. They are bending in vertical direction. This is caused due to battering action of wheels. The continuous hammering action results in the hogged rails, that is bending of the rails. Okay, so what are the causes of hogging? Why the hogging effect can be seen? It is due to the loose packing under the joints and the loose fish bolts. The hogging effect can be seen in between the two rails, where the rails are attached to each other using joints and loose fish plates. So, if the packing between them is very loose, the hogging effect can be seen. So, hogged rails are removed and replaced by new rails. So, this effect can be eliminated by directly replacing these rails by the new rails. Okay, then second is deflected ends can be brought in to their original shape and size by welding. Second method of reducing the hogging is that deflected ends can be brought to original shape by welding. Then deflected ends of the rails are cut off and fresh holes are drilled for fixing the fish plates. Then the hogged rails can be made into the position by cutting the deflected ends of the rails and then freshly making a holes by using a driller and then fixing these two rails by a fish plate. Then the bent or deflected ends of the rails can be straightened. These are the remedies that can be used to prevent hogging and to make the rails, also to prevent hogging, and if hogging has occurred then how it can be eliminated. These methods can be used. So now we will move towards what is wear. Now we have seen that if coning of wheels is not done, the rails get weared off. So when the axle loads are abnormally heavy and the train moves with a very high speed, then concentrated stresses exceeds the elastic limits, which results in the wear and tear of the rails. So, depending on the location and the position of wears, they are classified into as follows. Okay, so on the basis of location, on sharp curves, the wear occurs on sharp curves, the wear occurs on gradients, the wear occurs on approaches to the station and in the tunnel. On the basis of the position of wear on head of the rail, wear on ends of the rail, wear on curves of the rail can be distinguished. So we will see one by one. We will learn the positions of wear. So wear on head of the rail. When wear on head of the rail is due to the abrasion on moving rails. Due to continuous movement of the rail trains over the rails, abrasion takes place and thus the head of the rail gets veered off. Secondly, due to the grinding action of sand or dust between the rails and the wheels of the train. So, due to the grinding action of sand and dust, the rails head gets veered off. Third, when train starts or applies the brakes, the wheel just slides on the rails causing wear on the head. When the trains are stopped, brakes are applied. While stopping the train, brakes are applied, and due to which it causes wear on the head. There is a friction. The load coming onto a track may exceed the carrying capacity of the section, thus causing the wear in the head of the rail. So, if the train is overloaded, wear in the head of the rail is can be seen. So now we will move toward the second one, that is wear on the ends of the rail. It is much greater than the wear on the head of the rail. The wear on the head of the rail is minimum, but the wear on ends of the rail is maximum. This type of wear is resulted due to the blows which the rail receives when the wheel jumps the space between the rail ends. This type of wheel is resulting from when the wheel jumps from the space between the rail ends. See, this space between the rail ends is called as expansion gap. When this wheel jumps the space, jumps from this, the wear on the ends is resulted. So, the ends are battered by such blows that this ends gets hammered. The contact surface between the sleepers and the rail is worn as the effect of this blows increases. Due to this battering of the wheel, the contact between the sleepers and the rail gets disturbed. The ballast under the sleepers will loosen due to the increase in the intensity of vibrations. Also, the sleeper will depress due to the displacement of the ballast, and also the switch plates will get loose under the constant impact of the increasing vibrations. Due to this jumping of wheels from one rail to the another, it will result in depression due to displacement of ballast. It will displace the ballast. Also, the fish plates will be loosened out. So in short, the track will get loosened out. So now we will move towards the third is what is wear of rail on the curves. On the curves, the wear of rail takes place in the both sides, that is inner and outer rails. On the curve, the outer wheel has to move through greater distance than the inner wheel. As we have seen in the video, the outer wheel requires to move through a greater distance. It has to cover a greater distance as compared to that of the inner wheel. And the inner wheel has to slide over the inner rail. As a result of this, sliding of the inner rail occurs because the metal in the rail head is burst. So when the sliding wear of the inner rail occurs because the metal in the rail head is burst. It gets burst out. So we will move towards the next topic, that is creep of rails. What is creep of rails? It is nothing but a longitudinal movement of the rails with respect to the sleepers of the track. The longitudinal movement of the rails with respect to the sleepers of the track is nothing but the creep. Now, how we will know that a creep is occurring? So occurrence of the creep can be noticed from the following observations. The closing of successive expansion spaces at the rail joints in the direction of the creep. So we can see that there is a space between the two rails which is called as the expansion gap. The closing of the successive expansion spaces at the rail joints indicates that creep is occurring in the direction in that position, and when opening of the joints at the point from where the creep starts, then we can observe that there are marks on the fledges, that is wheel fledges, and webs of the rail which are made by the spike heads by scraping and scratching as the rail slides. So if you observe marks on the fledges and webs of the rails, we can conclude that creep is occurred. So we will see what are the theories of creep. There are two basic theories, that is wave theory and percussion theory. So wave motion is set by moving loads of wheels. A wave motion is set by this wheel. The vertical reverse curve, that is ABC is formed ahead of the wheel. The wheel pushes the wave with a tendency to force the rail in the direction of the traffic. This wheel pushes this wave with a force in the direction of the traffic. As the wheel will move, the lift in front of the moving load. See, this is the lift which is at the front of the moving load is carried forward. As the wheel moves, this lift in front of the moving load is carried forward by the wheel and causes creep, whereas the lift at the rear of the wheel gets back to its normal position. So we can conclude that when the wheel is moving, this lift which is at the front of the wheel gets carried in the forward direction, and the lift which is at the rear of the wheel gets back to its normal position. So now we will see what is percussion theory. The theory states that the creep is due to the impact of wheels at the rail end, ahead at the joints. In the theory, what this theory states? See, the theory states that the creep is due to the impact of wheels at the rail ends. The creep is due to the impact of wheels at the rear ends, ahead at joints. The component, that is P of this R, tends to cause the creep. As we know, creep is nothing but the longitudinal movement of wheel. Okay, so this component of R tends to cause the creep, and the component Q tends to bend down the rails, that is cause hogging of wheels. When the wheels leave the trails, when the wheels leave the trailing rail and strikes the facing rail end at each joint, it pushes the rail forward, resulting creep. We have explained this, I have explained this in the wave theory. The creep by this theory will increase due to weak and loose fish bolts. When the fish bolts are fixed very loosely, this creep will occur. When worn out fish plates, when the fish plates gets opened, creep occurs. And if loose packing at the joints and wide expansion gap, if there is the expansion gap is wide and the packing at the joints is loose, creep will occur. And also when heavy axle load is moving at a higher speed. Okay, so we have covered the theories, that is percussion theory and wave theory of creep. So we know the causes of creep, so we will see one by one. it is due to the wave motion of trains. Second, it is due to the expansion and contraction of rails due to the variation in the temperatures. Third, it is due to starting, accelerating, and slowing down and stopping of trains. Then it is due to the rail deflection under the moving loads from the wheels. If the heavy traffic is moving only in one direction, if the curves greater on the curves, the grip is greater on the curves, and if old rails have more grip, we know that. Note down this: old rails have more grips as compared to the new rails. Old rails have more grip. More with steep gradients. Where steep gradient is there, grip is more. And when poor maintenance of track is there, grip will cause. So what are the effects of grip? The expansion gap is reduced and buckling of track takes place. So what is buckling of track? The track gets out of the position. That is, the track will get out of the position. Train will get out of their positions. So the sleepers are moved out of a square. Dislocation. Effects of slip is that dislocation of all the components of the railway track. Crossing points get disturbed. Rail joints are opened. Stresses are set up in fishpits and molds. Movement of switches is made difficult, and also smashing of fish plates, bolts, bending of bars, kinks at joint. These are the effects of the creep. In short, creep will affect the all components of the railway track. It will dismantle all the components of the railway track. So how will we prevent the formation of occurrence of the creep? That is by pulling back the rails to their normal position, original position, then using anchors to hold the rails firmly, to use steel sleepers, and efficient and proper maintenance will help to prevent the creep. Also, by using angular and heavy ballast, which will develop a good interlock. By reducing the space between the sleepers, the creep can be prevented, and by using a bigger sections of rails, creep can be prevented. So anchors are used to prevent the creeps. So anchors and anti-creepers are the members which are used to prevent a creep. So creep can be checked by using anchors and anti-creepers. Anchors are fastenings which are fixed to the sleepers at the foot of the rail. See, this is the rail, this is the sleeper. This is the anchor which is used to fix the rail to the foot of the fix the sleeper to the foot of the rail. Anchors are fixed at some required intervals in the rails. They depend upon the traffic, the curve points and the crossing. Where anchor has to be fixed depends upon what is the traffic at that location, what are the curve points and how many crossings